Well, hello and good evening. It's 12:36 on the East Coast. My name's Michael Gabbard, and I'm glad to be with you tonight. This is anything and everything. We can talk about whatever you want. It'd be nice for you guys to join me here. Um, we could discuss anything: current events, news, weather, scientific information, um, music, geography, archaeology, astronomy. Open to everything. So, worst comes to worst, I will be playing my guitar. And, hopefully, I won't be boring you guys too much. I have really nothing too much to talk about. Um, so I guess I'll figure I'll warm up with a little bit of the news. Um, I should get my news from the Drudge Report. It's actually very well laid out and dependable news site. Um, all the stuff in the news, all over everything, is just ridiculous. Um, I just can't believe how our country's being ran right now, and how the people, maybe we don't know how to stand up to it, or maybe we have problems getting together and uniting against things. But as I'm looking over the internet today, I am seeing, just hours after a major attack in Paris, where a couple of the gunmen were suspected refugees from Syria, that we, today or yesterday, accepted 10,000 refugees into New Orleans. I mean, I'm not a genius or anything, but it seems backwards, to say the least. And for an administration to accept those people into our country seems insane. We live in a different time now, people. It's not the same as it was, and it's not the same as it's going to be. But I know one thing: accepting the enemy into your homeland is not a way to solve anything. My personal belief, theory, I guess you could say, is that okay, sorry about that. I have no idea what that was all about. Um, I'm getting kicked off for saying that I'm spamming or something like that. I apologize for anything that's going on. Maybe I don't know. Maybe somebody's piggybacking through my computer. I don't know. I hope it doesn't continue because I like to broadcast on here and I enjoy having people talk to people or just basically putting my just basically getting it out there. Sorry, but let me get back to what I was saying before about the refugees being brought back into this country. The insanity of such a maneuver. I believe that it's going to lead this country into basically, it's going to help them get into a controlled state. They are going to let these they're going to let these refugees come in, and they're going to use it as a means to well, I'm trying to figure out how to answer you here, Bob. But I don't. But what they're going to do is they're going to let these Obama's administration. This is what's going to happen, and it might bleed over into the next administration. But they're going to let these refugees come over here into this country, and surely some of them, at least one, I'm sure, is going to be an Islamic extremist, and they are going to wage their little jihad over here in this country, and it's going to bring us to the debate of gun control. It's already in the news, and it's going to take away some of our freedoms. That's what they're going to try to do. And by doing that, I'm saying what's going to happen is they're going to either say that they need to step up security to control, to have the government step into more spots of our life and have us in every aspect of our life. So I guess I can't just type in these answers to this Q&A. So what's up? Nothing's up, Bob. I'm just putting some of my views out here, buddy. I don't know what you're talking about on Fly. My opinion on Fly. I don't know what Fly is. I mean, I know what Fly is. If you're talking about the slang word. Oh, flying the Confederate flag. Yeah, right. You should be able to fly whatever you want in America, from a kite to a flag. It's America. You're able to express your opinions and beliefs. What you fly, where you fly it is up to you. That's what makes America great. Thanks for the question, Bob. Please send me your questions. I got the Q&A open. But anyways, like I was saying, the accepting these refugees into the country is just going to set us up for failure. It's going to bring in Islamic terrorists, and they're going to attack our country. And when that happens, we're going to have people saying that we need more strict gun control laws, and they're going to say that they need to step up security to get their foot in the door to get into every aspect of our daily lives. It's going to be bad. I can't think of any other reason why that they would let refugees from another country come to this country. There's no legitimate reason for it. There's no, unless you guys, please tell me what you think it is. I mean, because we have a whole earth that they could go to besides the United States of America. The one country that they hate. I just don't see how this administration can justify it. I don't see how that Mr. Obama, is still sitting in office after this fiasco of a refugee crisis. It doesn't make sense to me. If anyone out there could clarify that'd be great. So, let me see what other questions we have here. Yeah, freedom. Guns equal freedom, Bob. They sure do, buddy. Why do you say that? Why do I say that? Well, it's because freedoms have to be protected, because once you're free, people try to take away your freedom. Because when you're free to make your own choices, decisions, follow your own religion, or any other aspect of your life, it's obstructive to someone who has ideas about, for instance, I can't think straight. Somebody who has ideas like for socialism or things like that, wanting to rule you, a monarchy type government or country. Guns keep us free, because when you're willing to fight for your freedom and you have the means to fight for that freedom, people won't so easily take it away. That's why I have a problem with these refugees coming from this other country, basically fleeing their country because it's in war. I want to ask you all this. Do you believe that someone who flees their own country, thousands of miles away, just running from their own country, not fighting for their freedom, not fighting for what they believe in, running to another country, not willing to defend their own family, wives, children? Do you think they're going to come to this country and fight for our country? That's why we have this country, because we fought for it. We spilled blood several times. We fought each other. We got this country going in the right direction where we want it to. And now we're going to take refugees, basically cowards who won't fight for their own country and freedom. We're going to take them into our country and do what? Babysit them? Foster them? What's the point of this? It doesn't make any sense. You stay in your own country and you fight for your country. That's what makes your country great. It seems sketchy to me to let someone just come into your country that won't fight for their own country. What are they going to fight for here? Nothing. And Bob, I don't know, using guns to stay free. The reason that the founding fathers put that into the Constitution about our right to bear arms is because they knew that there would come a time where we would probably have to pick up our arms and fight against our government, because the government, they knew it would become corrupt. They knew that we would have to fight against it. If maybe not physically, because that'd be the worst case scenario, but it might happen. And that's why it was left there. The guns were left in our Constitution in the Second Amendment for no other reason than to be able to arm yourself against the government. So the army couldn't come in and dictate your life and your freedoms. You know that, right, Bob? I'm sure you do, buddy. Or maybe you didn't. I don't mean to speak down to anyone at all. Please don't ever take it like that. But that's why the guns were there, man. We can use that against soldiers. It might be soldiers, but there's something online that's floating around. It's called the litmus test, and it supposedly started a couple years ago in the Army, where they started from the top down, asking high-ranking officers about, would you, if under orders and under certain circumstantial scenarios, would you fight or fire against Americans? It's called the litmus, LITMUS test. And if the answer was no, you're done. But if the answer was yes, you could stay in, and I don't know what the whole aspect of it is, but that's basically what it was, the litmus test. I like to think that the American Army and the trained servicemen and women of this country would never turn their guns against their own people. But, you can never be sure. You can't ever judge how a person's going to act or what they would do to, in the face of orders. Well, you're right about that too, Bob. I mean, if the Army comes in, of course, we are totally... I mean, if they're flying the F-22 Raptors and, they've got all the Navy out there and bombing, but we don't stand a chance. But the thing is, I don't think that the government would ever wage an all-out war on the citizens of the country. And if they did, I like to think that the people of the country would never, the people of the armed services would never follow through with those orders to be able to just totally shoot citizens. But that's what I'm saying. I mean, the government could try to persuade armed services that, through martial law, that they're doing the best thing. But everyone has a head on their own shoulders, and they have the right to make their own decisions. And I don't think that, if the Army did come in and do that they got those orders, I don't believe that they would follow through with it. But if they did, Bob, I'll tell you what, they would have to fight every American to the last person. And then, once they did that, who would they have to control? Who would they have to order around? That's why they wouldn't do it. Because after they get done and the Army's just marching around, who would they would have to tell themselves what to do. They would be the only ones left in this country, because Americans, blue-blooded Americans, will fight to the end, because we know what freedom's like, and we will fight for it. That's why when I hear people talk about that's the whole thing, Bob. They're spending a lot of money about the NRA is keeping us armed, helping to keep us armed. But see, that's the whole thing, because they know that if we are armed, I don't know, Bob, to tell you the truth. I mean, if we're taking on the Army, they wouldn't beat us, because we're not going to be beat. But worrying about keeping our guns, that's our leverage against the government, is keeping our guns, because them just being able to walk in and take us over and tell us what to do, would be very convenient for them if we didn't have guns. But as long as we are able to keep our guns, we can resist. And as long as we can resist, then we have a foot to stand on. It's a horrible, sad scenario to even think about America in those kind of conditions. But being able to keep our guns, whether or not, that shouldn't even be a discussion that is on the table about that. We're America. We have guns, period. We're going to keep our guns, period. If you try to take our guns, then that is war. It might not be an all-out war, but if that ever does go through legislature, in the Congress, and through to the president, then I'm like to think that Americans will stand up at that point and understand what's going on and realize that you have to change the whole situation from the bottom up all the way to the top. It's interesting sometimes to see how long some of these people have been in Congress, how much they've seen go through, how many laws and statutes that they've changed, amendments to the Constitution. It's crazy to think about. You want to keep your gun to hunt deer. I could give a shit about fighting the government like some Hollywood movie. Why don't we use an actual reason to have guns and quit whining about the government? I agree with that too, Bob. I mean, hey, I don't want my rifle to fight the government. I hope that never has to happen. It's horrible to even think about that. Whining, I wouldn't say, I mean, that's not whining. But yeah, we need our guns to hunt. A lot of people need their guns to live because everybody doesn't get their groceries from Kroger or Walmart. It's a way of life in America. It's a freedom, Bob, is what it is. It's just a freedom. Besides, we haven't had to worry about anything. The government has actually already taken over every aspect of your life. You tell me if you can get in your car and drive up the street without your own seatbelt being buckled up, without getting fined for your own safety. That's a little bit ridiculous. I mean, the government might as well step in and say that you need to chew every mouthful of food 30 times before you swallow so you don't choke, because the ambulance will have to show up and CPR have to be performed. It's ridiculous how embedded the government is in every aspect of our life. And while they're trying to distract us with all this other bullshit, then you have major things taken on behind the scenes. Things that the media doesn't even cover, such as, they barely cover it, like the Keystone Pipeline that Obama just shot down. This country is so ass backwards, I'm almost embarrassed to even be here anymore. Our country, when I was younger, in the 80s, it was wonderful. We didn't take any shit. We didn't give out any shit. We knew what was right and we knew what was wrong. But towards the end of the Reagan presidency, that's when things went downhill. He waged a war on drugs. Officially. The longest war in American history. The war on drugs. Billions, trillions of dollars since the 80s has been spent on that. The Brady Bill, introduced by Clinton, taking away firearms from convicted felons. If you live in America and you're a citizen, there is no way that you should be able to ever have your gun taken away from you. Period. I don't care what it was. I don't care what it was for. Never. Legally now, should they ever be able to do it. Because it's not that hard to get a gun if you're a convicted felon. whether it's legal or not. That's not going to matter to someone who is insane enough to do anything that was the reason that those laws were invoked in the first place. Should drugs be legal? I'll tell you what. In the Constitution, it says that you have the right to the pursuit of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. So you should be able to be happy. Now, if you're talking about recreational drugs, I'm assuming, I think in America, you should be able to do whatever you want to do. Because it's America. That's what makes America great. There should be no laws against doing whatever you want to do. Because we're in America. If you want to go walk down the street, you can do that. We don't walk into different provinces. I'm not in jeopardy of being shot because I walk down the street into a different ethnic facility, or I'm not in danger of having my house taken away or overrun by people. It's America. You should be able to do what you want. And as far as drugs being legal, Bob, there's a plenty of drugs out there. If you're looking recreationally, that can be used. I'm assuming that you're talking about like marijuana, heroin, Oxycontin, things like that. There's a whole plethora of drugs out there that are not on any list in America that are illegal. Some of them are, but some of them isn't, I should say. Those are just the ones that are coming from countries, it seems like, where they have, they don't want to fund their ways or ideology into existence with the use of our drugs. The people who grow, for instance, poppy plants, those are all our enemies. I'll tell you what, I'll give you a for instance, Bob. There's a drug called Migrainea speciosa. It's known as kratom, also in this country, and it has been used for thousands of years in people in Southeast Asia as a all-around drug, kind of a cure-all. But what it does is it activates the opioid receptors in your brain, and it has the same effects as Schedule I narcotic pain relievers such as Percocet, Oxycontins, things of that nature. And it's available to buy in this country in several different places. It was made illegal in the 30s in I forget the country, maybe Korea or Vietnam. But the reason it was made illegal is because it was interfering with their opium trade. And so they made it illegal to export. And until recently, they weren't allowed to export it. I'll tell you the thing about drugs. Drugs give you an alternate perception of reality. And the thing about reality is everyone perceives it differently. It's kind of like relativity that Einstein used to talk about. Everyone perceives the world around them differently. everyone. And it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to be able to see the world through everyone's eyes, and you sometimes wonder what people are thinking. What are they actually perceiving as the reality? What train of thought could they have that's going to make things seem like it's okay? Like the refugees coming in. How could anyone ever think that is a good idea, or that should be done? I mean, true, it's America and we help people. That's great. Okay, that is just fantastic. And I don't believe that, immigrants are what this country was founded on. But the times, the reasons, for the immigration need to be understood as well. People used to come to America for opportunity, for jobs, for life, for liberty, because those things weren't available in other parts of the country or the world. Now people are running here because the country is under attack. You don't leave your country because it's under attack. You stay there and fight for it. Do you believe for a second that these Syrian refugees that are coming over here are going to be able to, are going to pick up arms and help us fight for our country to keep it the same? Or do you think they're going to come? Oh, what state am I in? I am in Kentucky. I'm in Kentucky, but can I ask why you would ask that question? Why would you ask me that, kind sir? Why would you ask me that? Because of my accent? Or because of my wood paneling? To continue my rant. Nah, I don't like to think that I'm ranting, but yeah, I just don't think that it's right, and I think that the way that things are going down now, it's just a little discomforting. Like, for instance, Bob, can you tell me what state you're in? You're killing me, buddy. I'm just wondering now. Why would you ask me that? Why? Oh. Okay. Well, let me get back on track here. What was we talking about? I don't know. I won't do that to y'all. So I'm just on here talking about whatever you like. I've got the Q&A session up. You guys got any questions you'd like to ask or anything else that you want to talk about, just please let me know. We will talk about it. I've just currently been talking about, I don't know, America, things that go down in America. Um, what do you guys think about it? What's going on? Did you hear about the 10,000 refugees that were just that we gave a ride over here to this country to just chill out for a while, I guess, over here, and maybe these refugees will come over here and maybe they'll fight for their own. Maybe they'll start fighting once they get over here. You guys honestly believe that anyone that abandoned their own country is going to come over here and ever have anything positive or have any kind of gumption to do anything in this country productive at all, ever? If you abandon your own country, you're a traitor and a coward. And then you want to come and get sympathy from the rest of the world because your country is under arms, it's under war. Well, I don't believe it for 1 second that these people are going to do anything. I mean, what, they want to come over here and start a new life where they don't have to fight? You have to fight every day in America or in Russia. I don't care where you're at. You need to fight. You have to fight to live. Your body's constantly fighting off diseases. You have to fight for freedom. You have to fight to survive. Life is a fight. It's not a beautiful walk through Candyland, Mary Poppinsville. You have to fight. You have to fight for what's right, and you have to fight for freedom. I hate the old cliche, freedom's not free, but it's not free. My ancestors fought and died and bled for this country. And now we've become, I don't know what we've become. But I know that the government stepping into every aspect of our lives, not that I hate the government, but the government has overstepped its bounds. The government is not a babysitter, a nanny. The government's not there to make sure that you have a job or to make sure you're buckled up in your car or to, whatever. Make sure you're not growing marijuana. I mean, these things are not for the government to decide. The government is there to protect our well-being, period, and to make laws if the need be. They have totally just separated themselves from the American people, and they're creating havoc for us to have to deal with. I just don't know where it all went wrong. I'm only 36 years old, so being able to figure out what has happened over these last few years, it's hard to do. I mean, I don't know what we can do. But I know depending on the government, getting the government to step into every aspect of our lives is not good. People actually, when Social Security was first when Social Security was first enacted, the people actually resisted it. Well, the first reason was because they thought that it was the mark of the beast, because the government wanted to number everyone. What the government's number one plan was to tax every American citizen. Every American citizen. The problem with our country right now is money. The government has too much money, and they don't know what to do with it. The biggest insult I've ever seen, and I'm sure Thomas Jefferson rolled over in his grave when he saw it happen, was the bailout of these banks and companies. If the company fails, it's over, period. You can't bail them out. What the hell is that? I don't know. You guys got any questions or anything? I would love to hear what you guys have got on your brain. What's on your mind? Try to stump me. Let's do some Trivial Pursuit or something. I've just been on here kind of talking about the government and talking about the refugees and stuff that happened in Paris. I mean, We have such short memories as Americans also. You guys remember when the 9/11 happened and all the other countries stood up and wanted to go and help us fight and stuff? Guess who didn't? France. France didn't want to come and help us. Why? I don't know why. France has normally been a pretty awesome country. If anybody remembers the historically accurate ending to The Patriot, France rolls up onto the scene with its full armada of navy to help us against Cornwall at the end of the fucking Revolutionary War, which was awesome of them, but it wasn't modern times. That was great 200 years ago, but guess what? Nobody that helped us do that then is alive now. So, with new times, new measures need to be taken. What do you guys think about that? About the about France? About France having our back way back in the day at the end of the Revolutionary War, but then they wouldn't help us fight in 9/11 after 9/11 happened. Remember the ban on freedom fries and all that stuff? And now they now they need our help. They need our help, man. The whole world needs our help because of these refugees coming out of the Middle East. It is crazy that any country is even accepting this. I'm going to say it again. People that will abandon their own country without fighting are not going to be productive citizens. See, the thing about Americans, when we're born in this country, we're born free. And guess what else? When you're born in this country, you have a couple obligations that might need to be fulfilled before the end of your time on this freaking planet. One of them might be a draft to fight a war. Because guess what? Americans fight. Do you think that a refugee from another country who has fled his country like a coward is going to stand up and fight for a country that they probably don't even like? I don't know. It just don't make sense to me, people. Maybe you guys could enlighten me on that. So, I guess I'm going to go back to covering a little bit of some news. What do you guys think? Sound good? Last time I clicked on my website here, well, Bob, I don't know if you're still watching or not, but an inner city 20-year-old kid should be allowed to smoke crack and carry a loaded gun because it's America. Well, I'll tell you what, Bob. It's America. If that kid wants to smoke crack and carry around a loaded gun, that's one bad decision. The loaded gun is not even a part of the equation, because I'm going to have a loaded gun and you're going to have a loaded gun. So are you saying that a 21-year-old kid who's smoking crack every day is going to be a superior opponent in a gun battle? I don't think so. If he goes crazy and starts shooting people, That's unfortunate. But because he's smoking crack doesn't mean that he's going to automatically just start killing people. I don't understand the connection there. But I don't really fear anyone who is a drug addict who has a gun, because it's America. I have a gun, you have a gun, and he has a gun. That's the way it works. Now, if he was the only one with a gun and the government had taken away all the legitimate citizens' guns, then that would be a different story. But I don't believe it's ever going to come to that, because America is greater than that. And the instant that they decide to take away our guns is going to be the instant that we need to stand up and just rearrange the government, because that was how it was written in the Constitution, and that's how the forefathers designed it to be. That's why the amendment is such a high numerical value, because they knew the time would come when we would have to fight the government. So if we do have to fight the government, we will fight the government. It's made to be. That's the beauty of the Constitution. I have my pocket Constitution over there. I love reading it. The Second Amendment is awesome. The Fourth Amendment is even better. The Fourth Amendment is constantly being violated in this country, actually, right now. Search and seizure laws. I'm just going to take this and put it here. Kind of let's see what's happening here on this is a story I just came across. It has me hopping mad. Since the beginning of this large migration from the Middle East, these refugees who have gone to quite a few countries across the world, there's claims now from an operative working for the Islamic State saying that the terror group has successfully smuggled thousands of covert jihadists into Europe. This guy is saying that more than 4,000 ISIS gunmen have been smuggled into Western nations, hidden among the innocent refugees. This guy who's claiming this is an ISIS smuggler. He's in his 30s and described as having a trim jet black beard, revealed the ongoing clandestine operation as a complete success. This massive migration from the Middle East is a covert operation to smuggle ISIS jihadists into any and every country that they can get into. The Islamic State operative spoke exclusively to BuzzFeed on the condition of anonymity and is believed to be the first to confirm plans to infiltrate Western countries. This guy's saying that there's 4,000 covert ISIS gunmen ready across the European Union. This operative said that the undercover infiltration is the beginning of a larger plot to carry out revenge attacks in the West in retaliation for U.S.-led coalition airstrikes. Wow. So, these are the numbers on this. More than 1.5 million refugees have fled into Turkey alone. They're desperate to escape the bloodshed in Syria. So these are people who will not fight for their country. They have no values, and they are cowards, if you ask me. That's just my opinion. And I'm expressing it because I'm in America, and I can do that. It's First Amendment. These people are cowards. They're skittish, scary, uneducated people. I'm not against them. I'm just not for them being in our country. They didn't fight for anything we have. Their ancestors didn't fight for anything that we have. And their first decision when times get hard is to run. That's not what you do. If you want to make a country great and you want to have some sort of future in your country, you have to fight for it. Those ISIS fighters are ready to fight and die for their cause. However crazy, idiotic it might be, they're willing to fight for it. And if you're not willing to fight for what you believe, you're never going to be able to defeat these people. Leaving your country is just the ultimate act of cowardice to me. Do you think that if all of a sudden, let me ask you this hypothetical. Do you think that if ISIS all of a sudden, say they do have 4,000 people in America, do you think that if they stand up and they start fighting and they start killing people, do you think that Americans are going to flee, seek refuge in another country? Are we going to call up Sweden and Denmark and Italy and France and ask to go over there because we don't want to fight over here? No. Let me say hell no, we're not going to do that. You know what we're going to do? We're going to fight them. We're going to fight them to the last man, to the last day of the last battle, and we're going to take them all and probably not even bury them in the dirt in our country. We'll probably just ship them out to the ocean and dump them like we did Obama, because they don't deserve to be buried in the same soil that our forefathers fought and died for. This whole migration is just a covert operation. No, there probably is people that, legitimately want to leave their country, but that doesn't change my perspective on their heroism or whatever. It's just, you got people that are legitimately wanting to leave because they don't want to fight, because they're cowards. And then you have the people who are following them, who have ulterior plans to go into other countries and create more havoc, who know that they can get in. How are you going to keep track of 1.5 million Mohammed Abdullahs? You can't do it. And it's a sad, sad situation. Refugees. These people don't even... have you seen the pictures of the towns that they're supposedly from? What are you doing? You're leaving your mud hut town to come over here to I don't know, it just doesn't make any sense to me. Do you guys have any comments or statements or questions about this? I know one thing. Let me ask you all this. Why do you think that the American government, Obama's administration, is letting these refugees come to America? Let me make sure I've got this right, but let me make sure I've got my numbers right. But yeah, here we go. Refugees in America. Let's see how this goes. In New Orleans, the flood of refugees migrating from the terror in Syria and Afghanistan, they have begun to trickle into New Orleans. Catholic charities are helping the refugees. This is what this says here. This is their justification. It says, these are just people from another country trying to escape misery by virtue of a civil war. We had our own civil war, so I wouldn't be worried, but I would be vigilant. As local humanitarian agencies continue to serve refugees from Syria who find their way out to here, there are multiple background checks that are done on these families, and it's part of our Christian faith to welcome the stranger. Look, I don't have anything against the people, trying to come here and just make their lives better, I guess. I mean, but what I'm saying is, if these people aren't going to fight for their own country because of a civil war, what is their use or purpose going to be here in this country? It doesn't make any sense to me. Well, so I've got my chat open. Maybe you guys like to chat a little better, huh? So, I'm sitting here on the East Coast, just wondering how many refugees are coming into our country today. I like the Q&A a little better, I think. Wow, this stuff is hard to read about the refugees. They're being dragged into this country to, I'm telling y'all, it's going to get bad. I'm not a doomsday type person or anything, but I know that when you have your enemies coming into your country, it's going to be bad. But the one good thing about America is that we stand together. We stand together. And these we stand together. And if these people come over here and they think that they're going to terrorize us, or they're going to do all kinds of things to make us change our daily lives, that's not going to happen, because the one thing that I do believe is happening is that this migration, these refugee crisis that's going on across Europe is unwittingly, it's just a disguise to get the terrorists, Islamic extremists, into the countries where they need to be to cause the most damage and inflict harm across the world. It's just, you do have legitimate refugees who are coming from Syria and Afghanistan, Turkey, and all that to try to, escape the war or whatever. And those people, I believe, are for lack of a better word, they're cowards. They're traitors to their own country because they won't stand there and fight. We fought for what we have in this country. And these people are crazy, even if they do think that they get 100 or 200 or 47,000 terrorists in this country, that it's going to change our way of life. Now, it might change our way of life. I should take that back because the government will step in. I'm getting ahead of myself. It's going to change our way of life because we'll have to fight them. And we will be more suspected, more cautious of everyone that we meet that's around us. But why is this country, why is the administration letting refugees come here from a war-torn, terrorist-type, extremist country? There's only one reason that I can think of, okay? And that is because the government knows once the terrorists get into this country and they have a couple small-scale attacks, that the way that the mentality of the most Americans are today is they're going to ask the government for help. They want the government to help. And what's the government going to do? Well, the government needs to see more into every aspect of your daily life. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to be in every aspect of your daily life. It started now with the, we've got the security in the airports, which that's an understandable measure. You have to have that. That's a great thing that they did, and it's worked very well. But, for instance, they might demand that we carry papers on us and be able to produce papers at any given time to authority figures. Or being able for them to stop us at any given time, anywhere, to question us, to make us I don't know, it's just a sad situation, and I think it's totally wrong for the government to be able to even bring these people into our country, well, without asking us, basically. I mean, who do they think that they are? Bringing refugees from a country from where people aren't even willing to fight for their own land, and they're going to bring them over here for what? What could those people possibly do to be productive in this country? Anybody? Shoot me the question over here and give me an answer to that if you could. What possible scenario could play out for these people to be productive in this country? What, they're going to get a job at a factory making ho-hos or something? These people are running from their own country, their own homeland, not willing to defend it, not willing to fight for it. Look, when we had to fight for this country, we left our women and children at the house and we went and fought. We fought the British twice. Hell, we fought each other. And ever since then, we've been fighting all around the world. That's what you have to do. We fought for our freedom for this country. Our freedom started being attacked from outside of our country, and we've been fighting it ever since. When the Civil War happened, we didn't pack up and go back to England or go to Mexico. We stayed and we fought. That's why I'm skeptical of all of these people, these refugees. These refugees are a cover for smuggling Islamic extremist terrorists across the world. It's taken them, 2 years to create such a humanitarian catastrophe where it seems legitimate that all these people are wanting to leave their countries now and go somewhere else. I mean, why didn't this happen when Assad was chemically bombing his own people? I don't know. Does anybody have an answer for that? I have one viewer on here right now. And if you could just please ask me a question. Anything. I don't care what it is. Just type me a whole question. Nothing? Maybe you'd feel more comfortable with the chat. Want to chat it up? No. So, okay, let's talk about some more stuff here. Please submit question. So they haven't even caught all of these suspects in Paris. The eighth one is, they're still trying to track down the eighth one. Today, France, in retaliation for the attacks, dropped 20 bombs on the jihadi training camp. I mean, it's ridiculous. You know, when I turn on the news, almost on a daily basis, they're talking about the areas controlled by ISIS. How in the world are you going to let these people even stand on top of one grain of sand that they can call their own? These people should never be able to sleep. They shouldn't be able to get 1 second of sleep. They shouldn't be able to have enough time to record a video, let alone stand somewhere in the desert and behead Americans. These people are crazy, okay? And the number one problem with everything over there, and partially, I hate to have to say it here, is religion. Religion is what's holding this whole world back from progress. Religion came about from superstition, and I hate to have to say it, but ignorance. Because we didn't have an understanding of anything. Knowledge until recently, and by recently, I mean, I'm going to probably give it a little bit longer than what I should, but I'm going to say the 1800s. Knowledge was guarded. Knowledge didn't always used to be so accessible. Reading, for instance, being literate was a feat, to say the least. Being able to be literate means that you can acquire knowledge. And with knowledge, you can apply that, and you're limitless to what you can do with knowledge. People don't really understand that, or think about it maybe, but the thing is, A long time ago, everyone wasn't allowed to read. And until, I'm not sure of the exact date, but throughout history, people didn't just read to read, okay? There was a time when literature started becoming progressive and everyone wanted to write because everyone became literate. Not everyone, but most people did become literate. And the only books to read then, the only thing that was important enough to write about was religion. And the only ones who used to write the religion were the priests. So, religion became and has become the downfall of our whole civilization. As long as there is religion in the forefront of that guides our governance, nothing's going to be able to get right. Because religion, as it's written in our Constitution, should be separate from the state, but it's not. As you can see on any election, people talk about their religion. Romney got shot down because he was a Mormon. But guess what? Christians are becoming the minority now in this country, so you're not going to be able to just get up there and say you're a Christian anymore and get votes like that. It needs to be totally abolished. I'm not saying that they need to control your religious views or whatever, because that would be, that's just going to bring about the ending that all the Christians want from Revelation. But what I'm saying is, religion needs to take a back seat to everything else. Okay, religion is not the way that you run a country. This country wasn't founded on Christianity, as a lot of people believe. This country was founded on the freedom of religion, which means you should be able to worship. You shouldn't take the spirituality. That's the whole idea. The founding fathers didn't want to take spirituality out of the picture of human life, because guess what? We are spiritual beings, and we do need that connection with a higher power. Now, the higher power could be whatever you want it to be, but anyone who has studied religion, its origins, its evolution, and its current culmination in the world today, you'll be able to see a pattern. For instance, let's take the Christians, for example. In the Old Testament, Moses, raised an Egyptian, later was a freedom fighter. There's a book called Leviticus in the Old Testament. And now this was one of 5 books that were in existence as the Bible for the Christians for a long, long time. But in it, Leviticus talks about laws for stealing, murder, rape, everything. It talks about dietary laws, what you should eat, when you should eat it. It talks about sanitation. It tells you not to crap where you live. Don't pee in your drinking water. Okay? The reason that a lot of religions And I should say the only one that's coming to mind really is Christianity. I don't mean to dog on Christianity. Because, people who are Christians, I believe they're on the right path. They've got the right idea. They're just going about it the wrong way. But the people back in the ancient times didn't know anything, okay? And what I mean by that is they didn't know how to survive living in large numbers, which is what eventually happened when people got together and started settling down in towns and cities. Okay, there's two things that had to happen. One, you need agriculture to feed the people, and you needed cattle herds. You needed beef, livestock. Now the agriculture, people already knew how to do that, but what they didn't know how to do is keep their cities clean. They didn't know how to sanitize their food. That's why, you hear people talking about Muslims. They don't eat pork. Well, pork is one of the hardest meats to preserve. It spoils faster than any other meat. Okay, they didn't eat the meat because it was a sin or there's some kind of evil in the meat. What the thing is because it made people sick. They didn't cook it well. You can't eat pork raw. You have to cook it through. Okay, and pork's not the only thing on there. A lot of people, that's the beauty of being literate, of being able to understand what you read and make your own decisions as being a free person and using your intellect to decide what is legitimate and what isn't. Because what a lot of people don't know is not only I don't know. What else you guys want to talk about? I've done ran off all my viewers. Let's see, we got 8.5 million viewers on what, though? Oh, the second Democratic debate. Yeah, big deal. Big deal. And, oh, here's a good one. One of the Paris terrorists, he was rescued near Greece after his boat sank. So, here we are again. Maybe I'll sing a little song. Go something like this. Maybe one breath away. Maybe one breath away. I'll find the words to say. I'll sit and light the bomb. I'll hold my head in real long. I don't know if I can go up inside of to me. Mary, baby. You've heard the line before. Mary, baby, please don't think that I'm a fool. All right, so I'm going to go this way again. Horrible lighting. It's a little better. So, still on here talking about anything and everything. I'm enjoying your all's feedback. Just bored. Bored. Somebody talk to me. Call me. Talk to me. Let's do something. Hit me up on Facebook. I don't know. I'm over here smoking a cigarette. Maybe I'll do some of this day in history type stuff. You guys dig that?
Here's a look at this day in history. November 16th.
All right. So I'll do that with the when I get back from the cigarette and breaking. Let me ask y'all something. America has been around for not even 300 years. We're a good 50, 60 years short of being 300 years as a country. 300 years. Not even, I mean, which is actually a long time away yet to even get to 300. What I'm getting at is, look at our state of affairs right now. There's, I mean, all the problems that we're dealing with, and we're still a fairly young country. We've been tried and tested, sure, but we've got to have resolve. We have to have resolve. The downfall of every great civilization that's ever existed democratically has been greed and migrants. The fall of Rome was totally initiated by refugees, not refugees per se, but people who were brought into the fold of the Roman citizenship through conquered territories, who eventually got in the Senate and disrupted the whole Roman Empire, gave people citizenship, and the people who became citizens of Rome didn't care about Rome. In some instances, I'm sure that they hated Rome because they just kicked the crap out of their whole country, took them over, and ran their lives. Another thing that helped that come about, the annihilation of Rome, also was they spread themselves too thin across the world. Through their armies, they got too far separated. America doesn't try to conquer and occupy anything. Those days are gone, sure, but we still have things that we need to deal with. I'm getting lonely on here talking to myself, people. So unless I have some questions here left unanswered, I guess I'm going to leave it at that. Thanks for your time. Thanks for watching. This is Michael Gabbard. This has been Anything and Everything. Good night.